Welcome to Stakelbeck on Terror. Well, Egypt is on fire. The Arab world's most influential and populous nation is up in flames right now after a military coup that saw the regime of Mohamed Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood ousted out the window by the Egyptian military. Now, Morsi was only president for a year, and I have to say, ironically enough, the Egyptian people, remember, voted him in. Not only did they vote Morsi in as their president, they voted in a largely Islamist parliament a few months before that. This is what the Egyptian people chose, folks. But after just 1 year of Morsi's strong-arm, radical Islamist rule, they changed their minds. 3 million Egyptians took to the streets of Cairo's Tahrir Square demanding Morsi's overthrow. Now, bear in mind, this was the second revolution in Egypt in just 2.5 years. So 2 of the most massive demonstrations in human history in the same country in 2.5 years. Folks, we have a schizophrenic populace in Egypt, and a country really that's going to be tough to govern for anyone. Now, it's a great thing that Mohamed Morsi is gone. But what I fear post-Brotherhood for Egypt is civil war. And I say that, ladies and gentlemen, because the Muslim Brotherhood and its Islamist allies in Egypt will not go quietly. That's why my new book is so timely. It's called The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. It not only covers the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, the hub of their movement, the brothership, it covers the entire global Muslim Brotherhood movement. Because, folks, right now, the Muslim Brotherhood may be down in Egypt, but they're anything but out, not only in Egypt, but around the globe. The Muslim Brotherhood movement is present, as I document in the book, in some 80 countries, including in your backyard, right here in the United States. Oh yes, the Muslim Brotherhood is here, and they are influential. As I document in the book, we have Muslim Brotherhood operatives advising our government on its counterterrorism and Middle East policy. What a great thing, huh? No wonder we have made such missteps in the Middle East and North Africa over the past 3 years with the so-called Arab Spring and throwing our weight, the combined weight of the U.S. government and the U.S. military, behind radical Islamists in the Middle East and North Africa. No wonder when we have those same Islamists advising our government. I rip the lid off it, folks, in the new book. I also highlight Muslim Brotherhood documents. Now, these are the Brotherhood's own strategic documents written by Muslim Brotherhood operatives outlining their plans for the United States. What are those plans? To destroy it from within. Their words. Jihad is our way. That's the official motto of the Muslim Brotherhood. Jihad is our way. Dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. It's not a coincidence that Al-Qaeda, that Hamas, were spawned by the Muslim Brotherhood. Every major Al-Qaeda leader you can think of, from Osama bin Laden, Ayman al-Zawahiri, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, guess which group they belonged to before they formed Al-Qaeda? That's right, the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas identifies itself, self-identifies itself in its founding charter as the Palestinian branch of, drumroll please, the Muslim Brotherhood. Folks, it is no stretch to say that without the spread of the Muslim Brotherhood's venomous, destructive ideology, 9/11 would have never happened. Every single hijacker on those planes, every single mastermind behind that horrific day, cited and quoted Muslim Brotherhood ideologues, like Saeed Qutb for one. Remember the name, Saeed Qutb. That's Q-U-T-B. Google him, because apparently our government has not. Saeed Qutb, who was the Muslim Brotherhood's chief propagandist back in the late 40s, 1950s, basically was the fount of the entire modern global jihadist movement. All the mayhem you're seeing around the world right now, all this Islamic terror started with the Muslim Brotherhood. They are the granddaddy of them all when it comes to modern day Islamic terror groups. You need to pick up the book, folks. I'm sharing with you in the Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy, what the mainstream media will not tell you about this group. This is not a moderate group. This is not, as the Obama administration would like to tell you, a group that can be reasoned with, bartered with, dealt with. Hey, they can be an ally against the really bad guys in Al-Qaeda. Really? Al-Qaeda was spawned by the Muslim Brotherhood. Yet the Brotherhood is going to go against Al-Qaeda, even though they share the same goals, different tactics, yes. Al-Qaeda wants to blow you up now, kill you now. The Brotherhood says, hey, wait a minute, guys. Let's take it gradually. We can win through elections. And that's what they've done. Different tactics, same goal. And that is Sharia law for one and all, whether you like it or not. And the reestablishment of that global Islamic caliphate. That united Islamic superstate that will unite every Muslim nation economically, politically, militarily, speaking with one strong voice at the UN, controlling a good amount of the world's oil supply, all united against America and Israel, the great Satan and the little Satan. That's why you need to care about what happens over there. If the Muslim Brotherhood and its allies in Egypt decide to undertake a new terrorist campaign against the Egyptian military and the acting Egyptian government, folks, there is a good chance that they could target the Suez Canal. Do you understand what that would mean for the global economy, for the price of oil and gas? Oh yes, that will affect you. All of that Middle Eastern oil that travels to the West, travels to Europe. To get there, it has to pass through the Egyptian-controlled Suez Canal. Now, if the Brotherhood decides to attack the Suez Canal, set bombs there, cause carnage there, we're going to have a problem here. And every time you go to the pump, you're going to be shaking your fist at the Muslim Brotherhood. Again, what happens over there affects you here. I lay it out in the book. The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. Pick it up, folks. You can buy it wherever books are sold. And I'm selling this book to you so hard because of the times we're in. I believe time is short. You know, if you watch this show each week, I believe time is short. I try to be a watchman on the wall to sound the alarm. And with this book, I hope I have accomplished my mission. I really do, in that regard. The book of Ezekiel. In the book of Ezekiel, God says to Ezekiel, if the watchman does not sound the alarm, he will be held accountable. I'm trying to do what I was put on this earth to do, folks. And I say that in all modesty. For some reason, God has given a guy from Northeast Philadelphia a platform to talk about these issues. So I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to utilize it for you. I love this country. And I love the Lord. And I want to warn people, give people a heads up, and be a witness to people about what's happening, what is at the gates. Time is short and getting shorter. And I shouldn't say at the gates, because the barbarians are not only at the gates, folks, they are inside the gates. The book is called The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold, you can pick it up. And coming up, one of the individuals, the charming individuals that you'll see highlighted in the book, his name is Tariq Ramadan. I had a chance to sit down with him recently. He is one of the most notorious Islamists in the West and a real wolf in sheep's clothing. This is the kind of individual that makes the Muslim Brotherhood so dangerous. And welcome back. Well, one of the charming individuals that I feature in my new book, The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy, is Tariq Ramadan. He is the grandson of the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, Hassan al-Banna. And as you're about to see, Tariq Ramadan, who I sat down with recently one-on-one, carries on the family legacy.
As the Muslim Brotherhood tightens its grip on Egypt, Western governments are trying to get a handle on this powerful group. Is it a radical jihadist movement or a voice for reform that opposes violence? Tariq Ramadan faces those same questions.
I'm the grandson of the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, which was a fact and is a fact.
His family lineage gives Ramadan instant credibility among Islamists. While his grandfather Hassan al-Banna founded the Muslim Brotherhood, his father Saeed helped lead the movement in Europe. Tariq has been accused of carrying on that tradition. In a recent interview with CBN News, he denied any involvement with the Muslim Brotherhood.
I'm not a member. I never was a member.
Still, he praises his forefathers' work and has said there is, quote, nothing in this heritage that he rejects.
It was Saeed Ramadan who helped establish the Islamic Center of Munich, the Muslim Brotherhood's first beachhead in the West. And now his son, Tariq Ramadan, is carrying on that legacy and that of Hassan al-Banna here at Oxford University.
Ramadan teaches Islamic studies at Oxford and is a favorite of the European left. In writings and speeches, the Swiss-born scholar promotes what he calls a modern European version of Islam. He's advised the British government on terrorism issues and says Islamic Sharia law is compatible with the U.S. Constitution and European law.
Do you think there is a place for Sharia in the West?
My position is to say, look, Sharia is a way, it's a path. For example, when I am based in Switzerland, my country, or in the West, and the law of the country is saying that we are equal before law, I say, this is my Sharia. So my understanding of Sharia is not a closed system, it's an open system.
Ramadan packages concepts like Sharia in a benign way for non-Muslim audiences. His critics charge it's a different story, however, when he speaks to Muslims. According to the book Brother Tariq, the doublespeak of Tariq Ramadan, the professor's sermons have radicalized countless young people in the gritty Muslim suburbs of France. In 2003, a French court found that language used by preachers like Ramadan can influence young Muslims and can serve as a factor inciting them to join up with those engaged in violent acts. Ramadan also caused an uproar during this 2003 debate with former French President Nicolas Sarkozy when he refused to call for a ban on stoning.
De façon extrêmement précise, je me suis exprimé en disant que dans ma position, elle n'était pas applicable, et un moratoire pour qu'il y ait un vrai débat intra-musulman, entre les musulmans.
Monsieur Ramadan,
non, attendez,
est-ce que vous rendez compte
attendez.
Un moratoire?
Attendez, mais laissez-moi.
C'est-à-dire qu'on doit pendant quelque temps renoncer à lapider les femmes?
Non. No.
Controversy continued to follow Ramadan in 2004 when the Bush administration revoked his visa and refused to let him enter the country just days before he was to begin teaching at Notre Dame.
They used the Patriot Act because I was supporting Palestinian organization, and they said this Palestinian organization was blacklisted.
Would it be Hamas?
Connected to Hamas or giving money to Hamas. This organization was blacklisted in 2003, and I gave the money between 1998 and 2002. So 1 year, I stopped 1 year before it was blacklisted.
Hamas is a U.S. designated terrorist organization and serves as the Palestinian wing of the Muslim Brotherhood.
The positioning of Hamas now is legitimate resistance to occupation, armed occupation and military occupation.
So do you believe the violence is legitimate, though, when Hamas does fire rockets?
No. What I'm saying, I'm explaining what they are saying. They are saying that to resist the violence of the Israeli army is legitimate.
Over the years, at least 8 countries, including Egypt and Saudi Arabia, have barred Ramadan from entering. France banned him for 6 months in the 1990s for alleged links to terrorist organizations. The Obama administration lifted the American ban on Ramadan in 2010. He now travels freely inside the United States, giving lectures and attending conferences.
I'm a European by culture, and being a European by culture doesn't mean that I'm not going to respect the principles of my religion.
It's balancing those Islamic principles with those of the West that has proven a more complicated matter.
Coming up, our friend Sarah Stern brings us the shocking truth about the Obama administration's choice for UN ambassador. You won't believe this one. Stay tuned. And welcome back. Well, one of the good friends of this show is Sarah Stern from the Endowment for Middle East Truth, a great group here in Washington, D.C., sounding the alarm about the threats gathering against America and Israel. Well, I recently sat down with Sarah once again to discuss a new threat inside our own government. Her name is Samantha Power. She is the Obama administration's choice for UN ambassador, and you won't believe her track record. Take a look. Well, Sarah, thanks so much for joining us once again.
It's a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me here.
It's always great to have you here. We're big fans of Emmett, the Endowment for Middle East Truth. Everyone needs to check out the website and follow Sarah's work. And one of the big initiatives you guys are working on now, or one of the big issues, I should say, is the appointment of Samantha Power as our new ambassador to the UN under the Obama administration. Sarah, tell us why this is so troubling, and tell us more about Samantha Power.
Right. This is deeply, deeply troubling because she has a long-standing animus towards both the United States of America and America's one ally in the Middle East, the State of Israel. In 2002, in an interview at Berkeley, she said that she felt it was important to use American troops to unilaterally declare a Palestinian state. And she said, you know, this might somehow anger a very, very important political segment. That isn't her words exactly.
Let me guess, the Jews.
Exactly, exactly.
Very familiar. And so she's basically, Sarah, she's saying she wanted, I want people to wrap their heads around what Sarah's telling us. She wanted an American military presence inside the land of Israel, a sovereign country.
That's right, inside. She believes in this lame-brained, radical idea of the responsibility to protect.
Yes.
She doesn't really believe in national sovereignty. She believes in internationalism. She feels that the United Nations, which, after all, Newt Gingrich called it a thugocracy, could unilaterally decide what is in the best interests of the world. This is really, really scary. And when you look at who is in the United Nations and who represented the United States before. You know, this is the place of Jeane Kirkpatrick, Patrick Moynihan, John Bolton, people who great Americans who brought some sanity to that institution.
And she is essentially, and I'm just going to say it, Sarah, a leftist, anti-Israel radical.
She's extremely radical.
And this is the face of the U.S. now at the UN. People need to understand this.
Right.
And we talk about Israel at the UN, Sarah. The UN has passed more resolutions against Israel than any other nation since its founding. And now Israel has been able to count on the U.S. at the UN to have Israel's back, so to speak.
Exactly.
Can we still count on that with someone like Samantha Power there?
Absolutely not. And it wasn't just this one statement. In 2005, when Hezbollah was raining missiles down on Israel and Israel was forced to intervene, she blamed Israel for the intervention, and the Durban
for defending itself.
For defending its civilian population, which, according to the United Nations Charter, is the obligation of every sovereign nation. It's unbelievable. In the Durban I conference, which was supposed to be against and racism.
Right before 9/11, actually, back in 2001.
Right, in 2001. When the American delegation walked out, she remained and she helped plan the Durban II conference, which was supposed to be against racism, but it turned into a bastion of anti-Semitism, anti-Israel bashing.
People need to understand, I mean, these Durban conferences, these were, as Sarah's saying, these were, anti-Semitic, anti-American hate fests, really.
Exactly.
And she was intimately involved in both these events.
Exactly.
And again, she is now a representative at the UN.
Right.
Sarah, how indicative of this is this appointment of the Obama administration as a whole? We saw the appointment of Chuck Hagel, an anti-Israel guy, Secretary of Defense.
Right.
What do these appointments say about President Obama and his ideology?
Well, I think now that President Obama is in his second term and he can never run for office again, we see the fig leaf has dropped. He is not just liberal, he's radical. These are radical appointments. When you look, even John Brennan, Chuck Hagel, John Kerry, and he just appointed Robert Malley, who has for a very long while been saying that Israel should sit down and negotiate with Hamas.
That's right, Robert Malley. That's a key appointment in the State Department by Kerry, by Obama.
Right.
And Sarah, I don't know that people are paying attention like they should to this, but thank God that Emmett is paying attention. You're doing what you're doing. You are a watchwoman on the wall. We always love having you here. Tell us what's next. What do you guys have going on? Any initiatives we should check out, support?
Well, we are very, very concerned about the new presidential election in Iran, that for some reason people are looking at him as though he is a moderate. This guy has actually for a very, very long time been friends with the Ayatollahs. He was a member of the Revolutionary Guard Corps from the very beginning. And I am afraid that, again, this will be a smokescreen and will be another delaying tactic.
The Iranians, they would never do that, Sarah. Come
right,
on,
right,
Sarah, thank you so much.
My
God bless you for everything you're doing.
So much,
Coming up, final thoughts. Stay tuned. And welcome back. You know, in the Bible, the book of Isaiah, chapter 19 says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that in the latter days, Egypt will come under the control of a cruel master. Egyptian will fight against Egyptian, brother against brother. Folks, my fear is that we could be seeing the culmination of that right now in Egypt. It's a great thing that the Muslim Brotherhood has been ousted in that country, but I believe the unrest, the instability, the chaos may just be beginning in Egypt. As I said, the Brotherhood will not go quietly. And as I also said, they are here. They are in America. This is a global movement. Pick up my new book, The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. I ripped the lid off this group and what they want to do in your backyard. We're hoping this book can get in the hands of every member of Congress and truly make a difference. The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. Pick it up wherever books are sold. This is my on-the-ground, bird's-eye account of what this movement is all about. I think you're going to like it. Thank you for tuning in. Until next week, God bless from Stakelbeck on Terror. And remember, never hold your peace. God bless.